Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is Will Talk Wednesday. We are so grateful to God to be here again. Oh, goodness. Oh, my Lord. It is Will Talk Wednesday. Are you excited about this brand new day that you've never seen before? We're so grateful to God that we are live in your homes tonight. And we bring you greetings in the matchless name of the Lord, who is his name is a strong tower. The righteous can run to it and be safe. Aren't we are glad to be safe tonight in his arms? I know you are. I am too. I'm your host, Elder Tina Sanders, coming to you tonight as we launch this new series called The Will Factor. The Will Factor. Wow, I thank God tonight for another opportunity to go live in your homes. We are talking tonight about the will factor. It's going to be a series that we're launching this month. And as the Lord shall lead us and guide us in this series, we're so grateful to God that He is exploding some new things on this live show. And we're so glad that God is still downloading and still adding to our broadcast. So this is another umbrella of our Kingdom Enforcers Incorporated, where the Lord is incorporating all new shows on this particular platform. So we're grateful to God that He entrusted us to do this. So we thank you for tuning in as in our live broadcast, even in the replay of the broadcast. We're going to take you on a journey in knowing the will factor. You probably saying, what you got on tonight? I got on my little, it's Adidas jogging suit, where when you go jogging, you put on some leisure clothes, you're preparing for something. And a lot of times when I know women we put on certain clothes, it puts a different attitude in you. It puts a different mindset on you. You got on tennis shoes, you know you're going to be comfortable. You're going to either go walking or go shopping, but you want to do it in a fast pace. So you put on tennis shoes. And then you have the heels. When you want to strut a little bit, you know, you have certain pace that you pace yourself. So there's the different ways and different avenues in which we take a journey. And the more things you put on, rather, it prepares you for that journey. So tonight, we're talking about the will factor. And God gave us 5 factors that we're going to include, not all tonight, but it's going to be a series of events that God is going to unleash to us. Let us see, not only, but to release, rather, in ways to show us how His will, not just get done, but be recognized and known. And there are times when it's a volume in this. He gave me, he said, the will speaks when I first launched the Will Talk Wednesday. He said, don't you know my will speaks? I said, yeah, you know, because think about when you write a will for your family, whether it's a will for your children or your husband, your wife, or grandkids, whomever, you write a will and you put specific things in that will and you write in specific instructions on what to do when you pass. How many of us can say, oh, I got a will? How many parents can say, I have a will prepared for my child or my children? And in that will, you put certain things in it. You put certain instructions in your will to determine what that child will get, what that child cannot get, or what each child, if you have more than one, what they're entitled to. But they can't get that thing until you die. And Jesus Christ have died, and God left a will with some instructions in it. And I want us to walk out the instructions of the Lord. And God said, you know, this jogging suit, you know, I don't really wear jogging suits, or, you know, I just want you to see this little Adidas thing. I don't like to wear jogging suits, but for the occasion, for the night, because God said, I'm going to take you on a journey as to unfold the Will Factor series. And it's a journey that many of us will understand. And some of us will say, wow, I didn't know that was in the will. Why? I mean, because most time when we submit ourselves to God, we know what we're doing. Not to say this, and this particular broadcast is not so much that we're living out of his will and we're not doing or living in sin, quote unquote. But the Lord specifically said that this Will Talk Wednesday is designed to bring the gap, rather, between what your will is and what God's will is. So it's not so much you're sinning, oh, I'm living in sin. No, no, no. If you're out of his will, then you know you already are. But we just kind of understand the will factor as relates to, you know, when you think about certain things, you say, now this is God's will. Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And when you have not been in communication with God, then sometimes we don't know what his voice. So we don't know what God's will is for our lives. So in this will talk factor, God's gonna unload some things and show us the way to go as it relates to his will. And you're gonna find out during this time, am I really in God's will? And don't you hear this song to kind of to get your minds and your hearts prepared and ready for what God's gonna say to us tonight? How about that? Stay tuned. Be right back.
Let's face it, we are all looking.
Well, did you enjoy that song? It just shows us that how committed we are to staying in the will of God. And I know many of us might say there are some challenges that we all face in life. And in those challenges, we have to ask ourselves, am I in God's will? And that song, it just reminds us how we're going to stay in his will no matter what it is. If it means reading the will of God every night, come on, laying prostrate in his presence to get his divine will for your life, whatever it is, you may find yourself asking, God, am I taking this job? Is this job in your will? Come on, is this ministry, this calling, is it in your will? Those are the coming to question that we have to ask ourselves when going down memory lane. So I thought of not robbery, talk about Romans chapter 12, verse 1, 2, and 3, as we kick off this new word called the will factor. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So we're talking about the will factor. And there are some things that I'm pretty sure that we all know and all understand as relates to the will of God.